Hello, dear students. Welcome back to English class. In our previous class, we had learned the lesson Alice in Wonderland. The lesson Alice in Wonderland is a novel written by Lewis Carroll in the year 1865. In this video, let's discuss the textual exercises of this lesson. The first textual exercise included in the lesson is reading is fun. These comprehension questions were already discussed in our previous class. So in this video, we will be discussing the rest of the textual exercises. The eighth question included in reading is fun is tick the correct answer. These are multiple choice questions based on the lesson Alice in Wonderland. So if you have read the lesson thoroughly, children, you will be able to answer these questions correctly. Here, you will have to find out the correct answer and put a tick mark against the right answer. So let's get started. The first question is, the rabbit had white eyes, big eyes, and pink eyes. We all know the answer here, children. The answer is pink eyes. Now, the second question included here is, who was burning with curiosity? Your options are Alice, the rabbit, children. And the correct answer is Alice. So, in the lesson, we learned that Alice was burning with curiosity, seeing the white rabbit scamper by. Our third question here is, who fell down and down and down? Children, you all know that it was the rabbit who jumped first into the rabbit hole, and he went down and down and down into the rabbit hole. So please put a tick mark against the answer, the rabbit. The next question provided here is, who said, "Oh, my ears and whiskers, how late it's getting"? Your options are the rabbit, Alice, Alice's sister. And we know that these words were said by the rabbit when he was getting late. Our last and the fifth question here is, the garden Alice saw was big, lovely, small. And the correct answer here is lovely. The garden that Alice saw in the Wonderland was lovely. So this was a pretty easy exercise. Now let's move on to the next exercise, which is let's talk. Children, this is a very interesting exercise. Here you will have to think and give your answers. The first question given here is, describe some of the sounds you hear at night. At night, what all sounds do we hear, children? At night, we hear the hooting of owls. So at night, we hear the hooting of owls. At night, we might also hear the sound of bats. So at night, we might also hear the rustling of trees when the wind blows. At night, we might also hear the barking of dogs or the howling of dogs. We can also hear the chirping of crickets at night. Children, sometimes we also hear the honking of vehicles at night, but that is very rare. You might also hear the whistle of the night watchman. So if you were to write down the sounds that you hear at night, you may write, at night we hear the hooting of owls, sounds of some insects, barking of dogs, the whistle of the night watchman, rustling of leaves when the wind blows, etc. Okay? Let's now discuss this second question, children. Imagine you are Alice and your partner is a rabbit. What would you do? Children, are you also curious like Alice? Would you also follow the white rabbit into the rabbit hole? Let me tell you what I would do. If I were Alice, I would follow the white rabbit into the rabbit hole and try to reach the Wonderland. So for those who also want to follow the white rabbit, you may write, if I were Alice and had a rabbit for my partner, I would follow the talking rabbit to the Wonderland. And those who do not want to follow the white rabbit would write, if I were Alice and had a rabbit for my partner, I would not follow the white rabbit into the Wonderland. Instead, I would play with my partner in my house. Our third question is, what do you think Alice saw in the garden? Children, we know the answer for this question. We know that Alice saw a beautiful garden full of bright flowers and cool fountains. And she also longed or wished to play in the garden. Our fourth topic for discussion is, how could Alice have got into the garden? In the lesson, we learned that Alice couldn't get into the garden because the door was very small. It was just 15 inches high. Alice could hardly fit her head through the door. So how could she have got into the garden, children? Any guess? She would have taken some magic potion and could have become smaller and easily crossed the door and got into the garden. Isn't it, children? So we could say, Alice could have got into the garden by becoming small. So with this fourth question, we have completed the textual exercise. Let's talk. Our next textual exercise is let's write. This exercise is given in page number 70. Children, to do this exercise, you will have to find out one word from the story that means. This is a very simple task, children. If you have read the lesson Alice in Wonderland, you will be able to complete this exercise in no time. So here a set of 7 phrases is provided in this exercise. You will have to find out from the lesson Alice in Wonderland the words which mean the same as these phrases. Okay? For example, let's take the case of the first phrase, which is to walk fast. In the lesson, there is a word which means to walk fast. Since we have already discussed this lesson in our previous class, you all know that the word in the lesson which means to walk fast is hurried. Please note it down, children. Next is happy. So which is the word from the lesson that means happy, children? It is delight. The next phrase that is given here is at once. And the word in the text which means at once is quickly. The word from the lesson which means move fast is scamper. And the word which means to think used in the lesson is wondered. The phrase to be seen nowhere means to vanish. And you all know, children, the word which means to be seen nowhere is disappeared. To be inquisitive is our last phrase, and the word which means to be inquisitive is curious. So who is curious here, children? Alice is curious by nature. That is the reason why she followed the white rabbit into the rabbit hole. Children, let's now check out the second exercise from the section Let's Write. Please look onto the screen while I read the question to you. Give another word for the ones given below with similar meanings and make sentences. Make sentences with each of the opposites of these describing words and make sentences with them. In this exercise, you are expected to do two things. At first, you will have to find out the synonyms of these words and write them down in the space that is provided here in the textbook. Synonyms, as we all know, are words that have similar meaning. So once you have written down the synonyms, you will have to use these synonyms to frame your own sentences. And it should be written down in the space that is provided on the right-hand side. Okay, children? First, let me help you in finding the synonyms of these words, children. The first word that is given here is lovely. And we all know that the synonym of lovely is beautiful. Here, the second word is talking and its synonym is chatting. The third word that is given here is listening and its synonym is attentive. The fourth word here is see and its synonym is to look or to find. The fifth or the last word that is given here is center and it means middle. Children, now that we have written down the synonyms, you will have to use each of these synonyms to frame your own sentences. Clear? Right. I want you to frame your own sentences using these synonyms. This is your first home assignment. The second task that is expected of you to do in this exercise is to find out the opposites of these 5 words and write them down in the space provided in your textbook under the heading opposite. After which you will have to use these opposites to frame your own sentences. Okay, so let's first try to find out the opposites of these words. The first word that is given here is lovely, and the opposite of the word lovely is ugly. The second word here is talking, and its opposite is quiet. The third word that is given here is listening, and its opposite is inattentive. The fourth word is to see, and its opposite is to miss. The fifth word is center, and its opposite is edge or boundary. Now it is time for us to frame sentences using these opposites. Children, you are free to write your own sentences, okay? Let me give you some ideas as to how to frame sentences using these words. Using those ideas, you can frame your own sentences. Using the word ugly, we can frame the sentence. I liked the story of the ugly duckling. The second word is quiet, and we can write down the sentence. The teacher asked the students to keep quiet. Using the word inattentive, I have framed the sentence. Teachers don't like when students are inattentive in class. Now, with the next word miss, I have framed the sentence. As I was talking to my friends, I missed my bus. The last word here is edge, and using this word, I have framed the sentence. Do not keep glassware at the edge of a table. So children, now it will be easy for you to frame your own sentences using these words that are given here. Please try to frame your own sentences, children. And after you have completed doing that, do not forget to post it to my personal WhatsApp number. Okay? Children, please move on to page number 71 to find out our next writing task. Imagine you are going on a journey to the center of the earth. What do you think you will see? What would you feel? Here, you will have to use your imagination to write down this exercise. You must imagine that you are going on a journey to the center of the earth, and you should write down the things that you see as well as how you feel while on this journey to the center of the earth. Okay? So here you can write whatever comes to your mind, children. This is your second home assignment. We are now in the last textual exercise of the lesson, Alice in Wonderland. Alice follows this strange rabbit because she wants to know a number of things. Rearrange the words to make the questions that Alice has in her mind and put a question mark. In this exercise, 4 questions that went through the mind of Alice when she spotted the strange rabbit are given here. But the catch is, these questions are not put in the right order. They are jumbled up. So you will have to find the correct order of these words and frame questions. Let's do them one by one, children. The first question here is, talk, rabbit, a, how, can. This can be rearranged as, how can a rabbit talk? Do not forget to put the question mark after the questions, children. Moving on to the second question, going, he is where? This is quite simple, isn't it? We may rearrange the words and frame the question, where is he going? The third question here is, read, he can, time the. This can be rearranged as, can he read the time? And our last question here is, hurry is in a why he. After rearranging the words, we get the question, why is he in a hurry? So with this, we have completed the textual exercises of the lesson Alice in Wonderland. Children, please try to do the home assignment, and after you have completed the home assignment, do not forget to post it to my personal WhatsApp number. Okay? So bye-bye, children. Have a wonderful day.